I woke abruptly, sweat pouring down my face, tears streaming from my eyes. Another damn nightmare. My God, I thought. I had to do something about. Before I could even finish my thought, a sound I'd never heard came blaring through my phone. I almost jumped out of my skin before violently grabbing for it. Once I had it in my hand, I unlocked it, trying to kill that ungodly sound coming from the speakers. I was finally able to kill the noise with my volume button. Thank God, I thought as I looked at the clock. 3:33, only 2.5 hours until Marcy makes it home from working at the local hospital. I laid down on my bed, staring up at the glowing green stars my wife insisted on splaying across our ceiling. I just closed my eyes when that loud and mysterious noise started to scream from my phone once again. I screamed in shock, almost jumping out of my skin. I grabbed my phone violently and unlocked the screen, and what I saw confused me more than ever. "Don't smile back" stared up at me, blinking in big block red letters. The background was a deep black and reminded me of an abyss sucking out all of the colour. A cold shiver ran all the way down my spine. What the hell is that even supposed to mean? I said to myself out loud, as if my phone could hear me. In all my years of owning a smartphone, I'd never heard a sound like that. The pit in my stomach continued to grow as the 3 words blinked ominously in rapid succession. And of course that damn noise again, like those sirens they use for tornado warnings. I silenced my phone once again and immediately called Marcy in a panic. "Aaron?" she said as she picked up the phone. "Baby, are you okay?" I said. "I don't know, Aaron," she whispered. "Something strange is going on outside. There's so much screaming, so much blood that you can see it through the window." "Wait, what's happening, baby?" I said in a panicked voice. "I don't know, Aaron," she said softly. "We all got this weird alert on our phones all at the same time. It scared everyone half to death." "I got the same alert," I mumbled into the phone. Marcy spoke again. "After about 5 minutes of getting the alert, we heard the first scream. It hasn't stopped yet." "Okay, baby, I'm coming to you," I yelled frantically, jumping out of our old antique bed. "No," she practically yelled at me. "I'm walking through the parking garage now and coming straight home to you." She trailed off, and all of a sudden, the phone went dead. I screamed her name again and again until I was positive she wasn't on the line anymore. I tried calling once, twice, 3 times, but every single time, she sent me to voicemail. "Screw this," I said out loud, and jumped up frantically trying to put on my clothes. I was in the middle of putting on my pants when Marcy's ringtone started to play from my phone. I jumped and answered it before the first ring was even finished. "Aaron, baby, I don't know what's going on out here, but people are being chased by, well, themselves. And I mean spitting images, except the ones doing the chasing don't look normal. In fact, they don't even look alive," she said, all in confusion. "Marcy, what are you even saying?" "I don't know what the hell's going on, but I think it's got something to do with the alert that everyone got." "Damn it, this doesn't even make sense," I grumbled. I know, baby," Marcy said in her best calm voice. "Listen, I know it sounds crazy, but people are literally being chased and murdered by people who look just like them. I'll be home as soon as I can. I'm on the highway now." Suddenly, with 3 short beeps, the phone hung up. I screamed her name, pulling my ear from the phone. There it was, that same deep black screen, with those same horrible 3 words. Blinking up at me as if waiting for me to do something. I pressed the call button to call Marcy again, but it wouldn't work. I tried every single button on my phone, but nothing was happening. It still had the same black screen. I ran and grabbed the TV remote and turned it on, hoping and praying the news would be on to tell me something. When the thing finally turned on, all that was staring back at me were those 3 damn words. Those 3 words were going to drive me insane, I thought. I ran to my computer and turned it on. It said the same thing. Even the games console had those 3 terrifying words splayed across the screen. Every single electronic item in the house said the same thing. Don't smile back. It stared back at me like it wanted me to go insane, begging me to break. Tears were now cascading down my face, drenching my pajamas. "Okay, Aaron, stay calm," I said to myself. I grabbed my cell, just in case, and started to head downstairs to find something to barricade the door. But then, I heard a noise coming from the bathroom. It sounded like someone was lightly scratching on the bathroom door, slow and ominous. I froze in fear, my eyes widening. I took a few deep breaths and did a full body shake. I was trying my best to work up the courage to see what was in my bathroom. I worked up the courage to stammer a tiny, "Hello?" Complete silence hit me in the face like a fist for a good 45 seconds. I started to turn around and leave the bathroom when I heard a high-pitched giggle. A chill ran down my spine, and at this point, I was terrified. I was frozen in fear as a few more seconds flew by, and I heard that crazy laugh once again. Louder this time, and somehow closer than before. "Damn it, this is just like one of my nightmares," I said quietly. "Nightmares," something hissed. That was all the courage I needed to move. And I grabbed the metal baseball bat that Marcy and I kept by the bed. I swung it over my shoulder, determined to beat whatever was in my bathroom into submission. I continued to step slowly and softly, as if trying not to wake the dead. I was one step away when I heard that giggle again. A high-pitched, almost gurgling laugh. It started to get louder and louder, so loud and high-pitched that I had to drop the bat to cover my ears. I screamed out of pure frustration and terror. It laughed loudly, getting louder and louder by the second. It sounded and looked like they pulled something straight out of a zombie movie. I loved them so much as a kid, but this wasn't a movie. This was real life. I love horror, but I never thought I would live it. I finally took a deep breath, did another full body shake, and picked up my bat. I threw open the bathroom door so hard, the doorknob made a hole in the wall. I was ready to smash whatever was torturing me to pieces. But when I looked around, there was no one in there. Not in the tub, nor the cabinets. Nowhere. I even looked out of our bathroom window, even though we were on the second floor. Nothing but the moonlight, trees, and... Wait. Why are there people standing in the backyard? Just standing there, not moving. Their silhouettes were pitch black against the bright light from the full moon. I was stuck in a complete daze, wondering who these people were, and how they managed to stay completely still. I was about to turn around and walk away, when one of them snapped their head quickly to the right and stared directly at me. The thing tilted its head slowly, and so far to the right, I thought its head would turn fully upside down. I was mortified. As its head tilted, It slowly raised its hand in a sinister wave, quickly putting one finger down at a time, taunting me. As the thing smiled, its smile was so bright, I could see it. I couldn't believe what I saw, and I must have zoned out for at least a minute, because the next thing I knew, I heard that giggle again. It was so close, it sounded right behind me, giggling in my ear. I spun around so quickly, I almost fell, as the baseball bat clanked loudly against the shower door. Before I knew it, everything went dark. Every single light in the house was out. Nothing left but the light from the full moon shining through the bathroom window. I turned to look out the window, and of course, all the houses around were pitch black, just like mine. I even watched the street lights go out, one by one. Then, something odd happened. Something that had never happened before in a power outage. The lights started to come back on. But not like normal lights, no. They were a dull shade of vermilion. Almost like the emergency lights they have in hospitals, but much more sinister. But that wasn't possible. How could it be? None of the houses out here had emergency lighting. But still, the lights outside left the streets coated in a dull, vermilion glow. I could see the blood that Marcy was talking about now. It was a dark crimson, bubbling and churning like a cauldron. It was everywhere, pooling up in the streets like it had just rained blood. Suddenly, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. I must have jumped 10 feet while trying to turn around. I sighed in relief as I noticed it was just my reflection. It's just your reflection, Aaron, I quietly chuckled. Just your damn reflection. And my voice trailed off. I'm not moving, I thought, but my reflection is. I stared at myself in the mirror, or what I thought was myself. But the normal me wasn't staring back. This thing looked dead. Its skin was rotting and sloughing off of its grey bones. One of its eyes was hanging from the socket. Dark red blood and green pus oozing from the gaping wound where its eye should have been. Cuts and gouges covered its entire body. Its good eye was staring straight at me, while the one hanging from the socket seemed to keep its gaze on me as well. Its hanging eyeball was loosely and disgustingly rolling around in the socket. And oh my God, the smell. The smell was absolutely putrid, and frankly, the worst thing I've ever smelled. The stench of what I'm guessing was pure death and rot. I started to gag and did my best not to throw up. I didn't want to take my eyes off this thing, not even for a second. I just couldn't stop staring at it, frozen in fear and confusion. As I faced my doppelganger, it started to smile. This huge, demented grin that reached from ear to ear. Its rotted black teeth stared back at me. That same dark crimson was leaking from the corners of its mouth. It started to tilt its head and raised its hand to wave. In that creepy, one finger at a time wave. Just like the thing outside. Its fingers went faster and faster, until they were going so fast it was all just a blur. Before I could see any more of its terrifying antics, I booked it out of my bathroom and slammed the door hard behind me. The banging reverberated throughout the house. Marcy was right, I thought. She was right about everything. But then I suddenly realised, where was she? She said she'd be home in 30 minutes, and it's been over an hour. Lord, I hope she's okay. I can't lose her. I just can't. I fell to my knees and lost it completely. I started sobbing loudly, all of the night's events in my head playing like a real-life horror movie throughout my brain. I screamed until my voice gave out. "Don't you know she isn't coming back, Aaron? She doesn't want to. She doesn't need you now. She has us," it said as it giggled, but the giggling slowly turning into a deep, snarling laughter. "She left you here to rot with us. Don't you want to rot with us, Aaron?" The thing sounded like it was right behind me. I turned around quickly, but nothing was there. "Over here," I heard it say in a sing-songy voice, taunting me with its words, followed by that terrifying laugh that echoed throughout my whole bedroom. I turned around to face my doppelganger once again, grossly smiling at me from my dresser mirror. I screamed and grabbed my bat. I swung at the mirror with all of my might, the glass exploding into little shards. Some of them sliced my face and my chest, but I didn't care at that point. But that just made it worse. Now that damn thing was in every single shard of glass, even the ones stuck in my body, laughing and waving, begging me to give up and go with it. That smile haunted me from what had to be the depths of hell. I screamed for this thing to leave me alone as I threw my hands on my head, grabbing my hair and pulling it hard. "Leave," I said to myself. "I've got to leave." I quickly got my bearings and stood up. I almost escaped this hell of a bedroom when I froze. Screams were echoing throughout the streets, and I could hear them all. Lots of them. Blood-curdling screams. The kind you only hear in movies, not in real life. They were all laughing maniacally. It got so crazy that you eventually couldn't tell the screaming from the laughter. I shook my head, trying to rid my body of the shock I was experiencing. Once I could control myself, I grabbed my box cutter from the bedside drawer and made a small incision in my arm. I had to know that this was real life, that I wasn't dreaming or going insane. I started to bleed and almost sighed in relief, but then remembered the messed up situation I was in. Instead, that familiar chill went down my body, and I knew I had to run. Right now, I had to find my wife. "I'm just going to follow the route she takes home. She has to at least be in town by now," I said to myself. I ran down the stairs quickly, slipping on the bottom two and toppling over, hitting my head on the front door. I stood up, dizzy and dazed. That thing started laughing again, right in my ear, making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It laughed at my mistake, telling me how worthless I was, that I couldn't even get down the stairs without screwing up. I looked to my left, and there it was, in the living room mirror, basking in my pain, ready to suck the life out of me. It stared at me, that one eye hanging out of the socket, keeping its gaze on me the whole time. "What do you want from me?" I pleaded at the mirror in anguish, with my face in my hands. "Oh, silly, silly human. I want your soul," he growled excitedly, as his eyes turned that same vermilion colour as the lighting inside and outside the house, but so much brighter that it hurt to look at it. It was like a fire. The whole house started to heat up, and eventually it got so hot that sweat was pouring down my face. My head began to throb, but only in my temples. It hurt so bad I started to sob uncontrollably, bent over and heaving. I growled, "You can't have my damn soul. As I said this, I ran towards it and busted the mirror with both fists, throwing them at the glass as hard as I could. "You pathetic little boy," the thing bellowed. "I'm going to eat your soul, and then I'm going to devour you piece by piece," it growled. "Your meat is good for weeks, you know. And when that time comes around, you'll be begging me to kill you." Suddenly, it drops to the floor in one motion, moving towards me quickly. Its bones cracking and contorting as it skittered across the faded green carpet. Its movements were rapid, movements that no human could create. The sound of bones breaking echoed off of our high ceilings and made me cringe, like nails on a chalkboard. My migraine increased, and my vision went blurry while I tried my best to keep my bearings. I ran past the other me, barely missing its outstretched hand. "Oh, I love hide and seek," I heard it scream from the living room, loudly clapping its demented hands together like it was a child. "How about this, sweet child? I'll give you a 66-second head start, even though it won't help you," it growled. "I can smell your fear, you know. I'll find you, you silly boy. I'll find you and rip your insides out." Before I could listen to anything more that monster had to say, I was out the door and halfway down the driveway. I could still hear it counting, running down the street, like it was right in my ear. I'd run 2 blocks before I knew it, and started to notice what was happening around me. Shop windows were shattered, and several places were in flames. Blood pooled on the street so high that it was all over my shoes. The same vermilion colour illuminated everything. All I could hear were screams and loud car alarms. I slowed down and did my best to take a deep breath and calm down. I wanted to stay in the shadows, ensuring nothing on the streets could point me out. But what I saw next was worse than I could ever have imagined. My neighbour's 10-year-old daughter, Susie, was sprawled out on the pavement, laughing maniacally. Lying there in the middle of the street in massive amounts of blood, doing the motions, moving her arms and legs up and down like she was trying to make snow angels. She immediately turned her head towards me in a quick and snapping motion, and that's when I noticed that both her eyes were gone. Blood and pus were leaking out from where her eyeballs used to be. To my horror, she turned around, and somehow her eyeballs had been shoved through her skull into the back of her head. The smell of rotten copper was strong in the air, and it had to be over 110 degrees outside. My skin started to bubble from it being so hot, and the pain was becoming unbearable. I could smell myself burning. "Susie," I coughed. "What happened to you?" "Oh, can't you see, Aaron? They saved me," she said, pulling herself to her feet. Her stomach was sliced open to reveal all of her inner organs, decaying and infested with maggots. She then did the unimaginable. She dug her hands into her gaping wound and started to pull out her intestines one by one, drawing them across her neck like some kind of visceral jewellery. "Don't you want to rot with us, Aaron? It's so much fun. It's so freeing, sweet boy," the thing said in a growling voice, and Susie's face changed into mine. Still pulling its organs out, it started to dance in the street. Uncontrollably, I felt a smile form across my face, and we began to dance while blood rained from the sky.